This is part 2 of going live. I don't know what was happening with my first live, but here we are. Oh my god, the lighting is so... Let me make myself really small. Okay, I don't think I can make that any smaller. But let me just do a mic check. Is this not charging? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? View channel. Let's see. But let me just do a mic check. Perfect. Working. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Hi, Bee Pesticide. How are we? Really interesting name that you have, Bee Pesticide. Interesting. You know, it's funny. It reminds me of this meme that I saw by these people who pretend to be aliens. So it's like an alien that has a discussion with an alien, and the alien was saying, you know, humans are so weird, they poison their own food with pesticides, and then they sell it. They sell unpoisoned food as a luxury, so organic food, which is absolutely hilarious because we do. And then it also reminds me, I was watching this travel vlog because I like watching travel vlogs, and it was this guy who was visiting North Korea, and the tourist guides, they took him to a factory, a mineral water factory, where there's water that comes from a stream and then goes straight into the factory. And the interesting thing was that it's kind of cold. Let me put my journey on. This journey is just so weird. It just makes, I don't know. Okay. So yeah, the stream was flowing straight into the factory, and it made me think, how insane is that the stream is free, it's available for everybody, right? That water is available, but we just live so far from it, and we've just created such an environment that doesn't house natural streams, that we have to then buy something that is naturally freely available by Mother Nature. You know, this was in North Korea. Yeah, it was a travel vlog. It was really interesting. There were barely any people there. The guy was saying that he's spoken to like one person from the public. You know, and they have to stay with the travel group, the tourist tour guide people. Yes, I am from England. What are you talking about? I was talking about this travel vlog. I was making the point of, it's interesting the kind of reality, the world we live in which something that is freely available is then monetized, you know, it's capitalized by. But today, I wanted to talk about spirituality and what that means. I know I always speak about, you know, spiritual concepts on my channel. Of course, we're always exploring things like consciousness and awareness and love and relationships and other things. But today I want to talk about what spirituality actually means. Spirit, right? So when we look at the word spirituality, who's spirituality? I don't think any one person is spirituality, but spirituality is a word. And spirituality is something that has become very kind of mainstream at the moment, right? We hear about mindfulness, we hear about meditation, we see people teaching you everybody how to manifest, etc. But what is spirituality? Spirituality, right? So spirit, it has the word spirit in it. So spirit, that suggests that lady, you're not a Scorpio, you're a Libra. That's so interesting you say that, because according to my Vedic astrology, I am technically a Libra. But how did you guess? It's very I can define spirituality if you allow me. Of course, go ahead. Yeah, Vedic. How did you know? Oh, how did you know? How did you know? And so spirituality, the spirit, right? I watch it. So this channel is 100% AI. Okay, ma'am, you look Indian, but you sound American. I am Indian. I live in England. Your brain is an antenna. Consciousness is not local. We are tied to the universe in ways we don't understand. Follow the synchronicities. Wow, that's a... Okay, let me ignore the comment for a while. So, spirituality. The word spirit is in there, right? So the spirit insinuates that you are a spirit. So we are all spirits having a human experience. We are not the mind. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. We are the spirit, right? The spirit slash kind of soul, if you want to say. That's what leads to a lot of problems nowadays, because we don't feed our spirit. You know, we don't feed the soul, we just feed our minds. So we consume, you know, content, we consume conversations, or whatever it is that you consume. We feed our five organs, right? Our sensory organs, but we're not feeding the soul. This is why so many people feel empty. So one of the things that I was speaking about, I think in yesterday's live, was about relationships and how people, like someone mentioned how, you know, you get into a relationship with someone who becomes the source of your happiness, something like that. But that's so untrue, because you have the happiness already within you. Someone can come and like trigger the happiness within you, and it comes out, and you have all this love to give, you have all this joy within you, right? Because someone who's in love is like one of the happiest people ever. They have a skip in their step, you know, they're very full of life, they're just loving it. It's because they are able to express the love that already exists within them. I mentioned children. When you look at children, children are naturally full of ecstasy. They're naturally very happy, you know, very curious, very adventurous, very playful. If you like push a child over, like you're you know, let's say there are two children playing, and one of the children pushes the other child over, the child will be upset, and then um mm, 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 mm. Relationships ruin everyone around them. That's really interesting that you say that, because the health of your relationships dictates how happy you are in your life, because the way you relate to other people is the way you relate to yourself, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So you saying that, I think it's because your inner world, right, is reflected outside of you. I mean, to be honest, there is no outside of you. Your mind just perceives that there's an outside, but there is no outside. There is only oneness. Mm, 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 mm. I don't mean spirit as in like alcohol, obviously. Um can you please tell the rest? Wow. No, I'm not going to tell the rest of India to stay there. I'm going to say, India, please disperse, go everywhere. You already are, just go everywhere, even more so. And the population of India is so much that I wouldn't even say anything. You know? You become outnumbered. But lest we get into that, I mean, come on, no one is really Indian. We're all souls, spirits having a human experience. And when we get lost in silly little things like, oh, I'm an Indian, or I'm this, or I'm that, and you're that, and you should stay there, and I should stay here. What makes anybody think that they own anything? You're gonna die. You're literally not gonna be here tomorrow. You don't own anything. Nothing is yours. Everything is temporary. You've been given it for the short life that you have, and then it gets taken away from you because it's an illusion, this life that you're living, you know? Hate is contagious. I used to be I do have mods, but I just don't think they've joined yet. But hey Sunny. Um okay, there we go. Greg's here. We've got a mod. It's going a bit wild here. You've been alive for all of eternity. I like that. You have. You have. You are all of eternity. Because, like I said, what is spirituality? Spirituality is about the spirit, right? Understanding that you are a spirit before anything. Well, obviously your consciousness, expressing itself through an individual spirit. Hey, Greg. It's wild. Is it like nearly a full moon? Let me check because it's intense. Okay, wait, I can't check on this one. My app is on my other. How do I see myself? It's a really interesting question. Well, there are different identities you can have. So, like I was speaking about us being spirits, right? No, full moon was a week ago. Okay, just it depends how you identify. Most people identify very closely with their mind, right? With their thoughts, with their emotions, with their beliefs. They think that they are them. But the thing is, for example, someone who is in a coma, they're not conscious, right? So they don't really have any they're probably not having any thoughts. They don't really hold any beliefs because they're not thinking. They're not really using their mind. Their mind is offline, right? So then does that mean that person doesn't exist? Do they cease to exist? No, because you're more than that. You're consciousness, right? They're conscious, they're dreaming. Exactly. I mean, life is well, it's definitely not offline. Interesting. How's it being described in literature? Well, that's the thing. Who's the one listening when people are in a coma, right? At 3 p.m. today, he had a heart attack. Wow. What? I mean, I was gonna say what a coincidence again, but wow, wild. Greg, I don't know if you've ever read the book, but there's a book called Frequency that talks about how people, everybody is in a different level of consciousness. So the level of plants is on a lower level of consciousness, then it's animals, and then it's humans, right? So people who go in a coma, if I can remember correctly, they go into a specific level of consciousness where they are still there, but they're somewhere else. Like, I don't know. But yeah, of course you're right. What was I gonna say? They can still hear. Of course, that's the thing. Who's listening? And yes, definitely wishing a speedy recovery for Josh. Let me just. Okay. Wow, they put him in a chair. That's interesting. I wonder why. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Do I believe in heaven or hell? I don't. And thank you for that question. I don't. I think heaven and hell are existing right now. So depending on your state, right? The state you're embodying. So are you embodying love or are you embodying fear? when you live in a state of fear, you're living in hell because you attract more of that. We're magnets, so we attract that which we are, that at which we're emanating. So some people, they have a really strong victim mentality. I used to have one of these where I used to be living in constant fear, overthinking, anxious, being worried if things got too good, and that would attract lots of trouble into my life. Whereas when you become the opposite of that, I actually have a video on this about victim mindset and taking the God state. The God state is, if you don't believe in God, you can just say, a state of love and peace and fulfillment. So where you surrender to life because it is not you who's doing anything. Do you believe in ghosts? No. I mean, actually, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm being a mad mod at the moment. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's a lot, Greg. I get it. It's intense. I'm trying to do you, ghosts probably exist. I mean, yeah. I had an overdose and passed out. I felt my spirit leave and could see everything around me. Things began to get dark and saw what I believed were demons smiling and laughing. Wow, interesting. You know what they say? In Sikhism, they say that if you're not someone who has remembered God, right, and made a connection with God during your life, then when you die, demons come and get you. Because they call it Kamai, and Kamai is your net worth, you could say. So they don't talk about net worth as in money, but they talk about net worth as in how much Nam you japt, right? How essentially Nam japna, which is like repeating a mantra over and over again. So it could be whatever you want to say. You could repeat I am, because I am is God, right? It's a name for God. I am before I am Priya. I am before I am Scorpio Sage 8 on YouTube Live right now. I am feeling good. I am you see? So I am is God, right? It's a name for God. And then you have other names for gods. Any name for God that you have, that you repeat, because you're constantly remembering God. You're inviting God to be with you in every single moment. That is important because that is the truth of who you are. And to remember God means to be aware of that truth, to be connected to source. And that changes your whole existence. I was speaking yesterday about how a lot of people say, like, someone made a comment, I think it was Bee Pesticide, right? Saying that, people say that spirituality is for your Budappa. So Budappa is old age. So because obviously I think it's no surprise, I'm Indian, right? So India is one of the most spiritual countries in the world. No doubt about that. So, of course, it's such a normal thing to believe in God, to be religious, to do this, to do that, right? But the thing is, there are different levels. So you can have an understanding of God. Like, for example, some people here may be Christian and they may go to church on Sunday. That doesn't make you religious. That just means you happen to go to church on Sunday. Because if that's all you do, that's the most that you do to connect with God, then that's a very, like, primary, like a beginner level of religiousness, right? Because a truly religious person is religious 24 hours a day. So God is with that person 24 hours a day. And let me talk about because I know we have a lot of new people here. I don't identify with any religion. People are asking what's the source. So the source could be like, source is usually said about the source of life, right? God, the creator. People have lots of different names. Consciousness, awareness. You recommend I close off all relationships. Really? Interesting. Going to church on Sundays, you used to think. See, that's the thing, like, some people do it for the sake of it. Like, some people are religious because they're scared. They think that they have to be because they've been brought up in a world where, or in a family where it's like, you have to pray, otherwise you're going to go to hell. Most people are trying to score brownie points. Let me go to church. God will be happy with me. Let me do this. Let me donate to charity because my religion says I have to. And then I get brownie points. And then my afterlife is, I'm guaranteed to have a good one. But remembering God right now changes your life. You know why? Because when you remember God, eventually you begin to embody God. And when you embody God, you become God. Does that make sense? Am I losing people? Let me know. You should start reading Dante's Inferno. Okay, why? They will only hold you back. Really? I should look. Okay, Red Dragon Reborn. What else have you said? Hey, Vebov. Excuse me, how can you become God? That makes zero sense. There is only one God and one maker. There is just one Jesus Christ. Okay, interesting. Most people remember God only in their bad times. That is very true. That is very true. Well, that's the thing about remembering God, right? It's about having that remembrance of God at all times, because then you go beyond good times and bad times. You don't label them as such. Life becomes more than just a series of good times and bad times. I cannot understand God, therefore I don't think about God, because I cannot understand it. I love that. You know why? There's a lot of wisdom in that, because it's true. It's difficult to understand God because God is not something that can be understood through the mind. God is beyond the mind. So of course I'll be here and I'll try to, talk about God and talk about God's qualities, but it probably goes over people's head. And I know I can see in the comments that it is, because it's something that is really difficult to discuss. But it's difficult to discuss because it's something that is meant to be felt, rather than because language is incredibly limiting and confusing, because people take what resonates with them through their perspective, through the lens of which they see the world. Anunnaki. I don't know much about the Anunnaki. Should I? No, I'm kidding. I mean, I guess there's nothing I should do. Should never debate on politics and religion. I think everything should be discussed. Because think about it. I think it was like a reality show or something like that I was watching. And there was an example of a family, or maybe I've read it about in a book somewhere, where there are people who discuss how in their family things were never discussed. So something could happen, something big could happen one day, right? Something hugely, you could say traumatic, and that family won't discuss it. Do you know how dangerous that is? That is incredibly damaging and dangerous, because there's a saying, I think, in Hindi, it's when you talk about negativity, for example, sadness, it disperses, so it gets less. And when you talk about good things, they increase, you share them, I think it's something like that. So yeah, negativity is good to talk about, or like problems, because then you release the energy, because otherwise what are you doing? You're repressing it. Most dis-ease comes from stress, from emotions that are not expressed, because emotions are energy in motion. They need to be flowing, and you're not allowing them to do that. You're not allowing them to do what they naturally want to do. Is there a connection with karma? What do you mean? I mean, karma, every single thing should be open to discussion. Exactly. Our perspectives are not perfect. Our perspectives are very limited. Think about it. Let's say all of us went to watch a movie. We will all have a different take on the one movie that we watched, right? A piece of art that we looked at, a piece of music that we listened to, piece of poetry that we read, we're all going to have different takes on it because we all have different perspectives. So what is the truth? Your truth is your perspective. But one of the most powerful things that I learned in my life was the fact that there are many different perspectives. People will think different ways to you, and they're right, you know, because that's their truth. Who are you to say it's not? We can only see things from like one side, you know. Should I compare thee to the one? Okay. Yeah, you should be able to joke about anything. Yeah, I think maybe there are some nuances with that, you know. I mean, if we live in our bad thoughts, will bad things happen? Well, the thing is, if you live in them, that implies that you're giving them lots of attention. The thing that you give attention to, you empower. So if you are empowering all of your bad thoughts, you're giving them life. You're breathing life into them, and then they manifest in your life. And especially if you believe that they will, because then they will. Totally your truth on this turn out. Thank you, Red Dragon. I feel like they're very I don't even know what the word for it is. You're giving very interesting comments that are interesting. I'm a communist. Okay, nice. Why? I never used to understand this communist thing. Is that where you believe that everybody deserves the same? The thing is, the issue with that is that you're not living from the way that life is actually made. So life is created through your observation. Are we all aware of the observer effect? Or the double slit experiment? Okay, so the double slit experiment was done in quantum physics, right? To see, let me write this, oh no, the notes are in my other book. But essentially, it's looking at whether the observer has an impact on the thing being observed. So the experiment actually was created, I think, in the 1800s by this guy. He wanted to see whether your observation could affect light, right? And then what he saw was that your observation, so this could be you directly looking at the experiment being done, or through a camera, because eventually it will be observed. So observation changes the quality of the thing being observed. So we're all aware of atoms, right? Atoms, or like waves. So what happens is when you observe something, like I'm looking at my hand right now, this will show up as atoms rather than waves. Does that make sense? Because, like, for example, the things behind me, I know I can see it. Like, let's say I'm looking this way, like this wall here, it doesn't exist because I'm not observing it. Good morning. Okay, bye. Just don't know what to believe anymore. What's up? What is the topic of discussion? I mean, it's kind of like all over the place at the moment. The Gnostic Platonic definition of God is all that is, the adversary, all that is. Satan is ego that thinks it can be like God. Evil is basically narcissism or inability to see the whole. Wow. I love that. Love that, love that, love that. That is so true. You know, a lot of people think that the devil is outside of them, but it's not, because you're the one making the decisions. You have full power in your life, you know, to act in certain ways. It's a beautiful experiment. It is. I hope you okay. No. Hey King. Let me see if I've missed any comments. And namaste. The danger of beliefs is it can bring out extremes. That's very true. You know, the thing is, God is neutral. God is static. God is unchanging. I've seen you a documentary about Gnosticism and Barbados. So interesting that real. Are we surprised at these synchronicities, Greg? I feel like they're happening all the time, you know? And Sparta, it's really interesting you mentioned Surrey, because are there two Surreys, by the way? I think there's one in Canada and there's one in England, right? Because there's this lady that I really like. She is on the path of spirituality, you could say, and connecting with God, because hers is not through any religion. So religion is a like a path. It's not the destination. The destination is God. It's home. It's remembering who you are, living in the truth, right? So she is on the path of love. She calls it Rohaniyat. Okay, I'm not sure what that translates to. Maybe someone can tell me, but I believe it's maybe love. So she hosts these meditations, and she was in Surrey, and I couldn't figure out whether it was in England or not. So it's in synchronicity. There are two wolves fighting in all of us. The one that wins is the one you feed. Wow. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's true. So could you specify, like, what are the two different wolves? If we had to say, so one could be the ego, and what would the other one be? It's a big county. Okay. Nice. I've never been. I've never visited. I guess it's down south somewhere, right? I was thinking about trauma. Trauma is like, what was it? It was an example of a child. Okay, so you know when children fall over, Ruh means spiritual and Ruhaniyat should mean spiritual. Okay, thanks, Vaibhav. Okay. Ruh, spirit, Ruhaniyat. Spiritual. Okay, so in terms of trauma, so when you see a child, wait, what was the example again? Okay, you know when you have like a, let's say you have a 2 or 3-year-old, and your 2 or 3-year-old falls, it trips, and then when you're like, oh my god, what happened? You can't accept it. You begin to have a reaction to the child falling over, like, oh my god, my child is, you know. Then the child gets scared, and the child sees that, and the child thinks there's a real big problem, and then the child starts really, you know, crying and panicking. But those parents who just don't react to their child falling over, their child doesn't do that. So I was thinking of this example, and then I thought maybe this is how it works when we get trauma. So let's say there's a child within you, right? Let's say this child is the part of you that feels emotions. Let's say something happens. Let's say you nearly, like, I don't know, someone comes out quickly in front of you, but this happened to me once when I was walking. And then this man just suddenly shouted in my face, like, rah! And I remember not even reacting, because I think I was just having I was not having a good day, so I was just like, but all the people behind me, all my friends, they like really jumped, you know, he really scared them. So I didn't react, you know, it wasn't, so I let it go. It didn't like affect me. It didn't stay within me. Does that make sense? Or maybe should use another example. Let's say something happens, something that you deem traumatic happens in your life. If you just allow, because trauma is the storing of negative emotions. If you know, like heavy, intense emotions that you haven't released. So it's like with the child, when you're like, oh my god, you know, oh my god, the child has fallen over, you reinforce to the child that something bad has happened, that the child then obviously looks at you and panics, right? Whereas like if you kept your cool, the child would be like, oh, this is okay, like, of course, yeah, in the moment I feel this, but this will pass. It's not such a deep thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Whoopsies. Atoms work like a TV, blue and red only. Interesting. What are my thoughts about trauma causing someone to be promiscuous? What are my thoughts about that? I mean, it's true. I was reading this book about the effect of sexual trauma on someone who like went through some sort of child abuse. And what happens is that when a child is sexually abused when they're young, I don't know if I should be saying this actually. Am I gonna get flagged up for this? Um, I, what are your thoughts about? Okay, yeah. So it's real. It's a real thing. It's because what happens is when that happens to you, uh, when you're younger, you begin to, because you're a child, so you have childlike thinking. You don't think in things that make logical sense. So you begin to associate your sense of worth with your, like your sexuality. And then you begin to search that out because now you have a misplaced sense of self-worth. It's within your sexuality. So of course you act out and then you become more promiscuous because you think that the only way that you can get any sort of validation is from outside of you through your sexuality. It's really interesting because if you look at society, it's highly sexual. Like everywhere you look, with the kind of clothes. I mean, I don't know if you guys are all men, right? Like most of you, but there's this website called Pretty Little Thing, right? I used to shop on there, and I look at the clothes on there, uh, uh, and I just think, where is the rest of this clothing? Why does it have to be that you're butt naked? And why does this have to be labeled as empowerment? Because people lead with different things, right? And I feel that the society in the young women that I see, and I used to be like this also, this is what I believed. I believed that you had to, your worth was if you were sexy. If you were physically attractive, if you wore certain things, then you have self-worth. So you dress in a certain way, and that means you give off different like a different energy, because you get attention but it's not respect, and there's a difference, you know trauma is caused by negative energy of others. Well, there is no other, right? There's only you. Those people who emit negative energy won't make it far in life. That's true. People have lost their minds. Interesting. Not funny though. What empowerment means to people, not funny. Yeah, it's not, Do you believe in arranged marriage? I was speaking about this to Greg in the satsang, and I do believe in arranged marriage. Yeah. Arranged marriages used to work. You know why? Because arranged marriages weren't based on egoic things. They were based on, first of all, you were matched by your family who would look at certain different things, right? That kind of made it easier, like your status, or like, certain things that just made things a little bit easier in the world, right? But you didn't have any love or connection prior to the marriage, but now you're married. You understand that you're going to be together with this partner, and you understand that eventually you can fall in love with this person, and you will. Because you don't fall in love, you grow in love. It's a day by day thing, rather than, oh, okay, it just happened within a week, I just fell so hard for him. Imagine that. You fall hard, you get hurt, right? If we ever said I fell hard, that means, oh, okay, you got hurt to some extent, right? It was an accident. I just tripped. I fell so hard. Yes. Today you were saying you support arranged marriage. Yesterday you were supporting open relationship. Okay, interesting. The thing is, you didn't listen. You don't listen. I am not against anything. Who am I, or who are you to tell anybody what they can and they can't do? The audacity. The audacity. I don't tell people what they can and can't do. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you shouldn't have an open marriage. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. You shouldn't do that. Like, who am I to be in other people's business like that. So if people want to have an open relationship, they can have one. Who am I? Who are you to sit there and judge people? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm against them. I'm not. Do what you want, okay? Do what makes you happy. You have freedom. That is love, okay? We're too involved in other people's business. We're too involved in what we think other people should be doing and not doing. You're not focused enough on yourself. Competent people matching together is 100% good idea, not as a rule, but definitely as a standard. Yeah. I mean, there is a reason it worked, you know? Did you search Bravo? Nope. What if he's ugly? The thing is, it's an arranged marriage. It's not a forced marriage. So you agree. You look at many prospects, your parents find them for you, and then you either say, yes, I want to go ahead, or you don't. If you don't want to go ahead and you still go ahead, that's forced. That's not arranged. But thank you for the question. I think that's a good thing to clarify. Yeah, exactly. Trauma is experience that has not been processed because you were scared or emotional. Yeah. I don't know who Aisha and Zainab are. What are your thoughts about body counts? Should women or people be ashamed if they have more than 10? Okay, interesting question. Should someone be ashamed? Shame is a very low vibration. I don't think anybody should be ashamed because shame doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help you to move forward in life. Everybody does the best that they can with what they know. If they knew better, they would do better. And that's the truth. So I don't even get into specifics like that. I think one of the most important things is accepting yourself. We've all done things that we may feel ashamed of, that we're not so proud of. We are all the villain in someone else's story. But should we allow that to hold us back forever, to create, to bound us, to chain us? Are we going to hold that burden forever? How does that benefit you? How does that benefit me? How does that benefit the people around you? Because think about it, like most of the problems, like all the negativity, all the sadness, all the bitterness, the violence, the aggression, they come from things like shame, like anger, like non-acceptance, like feeling unsafe or feeling insecure. So if I was to sit here and say, if you have a body count over 10, you should feel ashamed, what am I doing? I'm encouraging someone to feel these emotions, to not accept themselves, and then what's that person full of? Right? And then how will they impact me, the rest of the world, or themselves? No, I've not read upon anyone, guys. Trauma is a fear energy that comes from memory and remembering the negative energy interaction. Yeah, it's a story, right? It's the story that keeps playing. I think that's the thing that's troubling. We can feel emotions, but once we attach a story to it, oh, I feel jealous, so that means I must not be good enough because that's what that means. Why would I feel jealous otherwise? And then it's a story that loops, and then you get stuck in this story. Open relationship people don't kill anyone. Wow. Hey, I love that point. That's a fabulous point. Look, I'm not encouraging it, okay? I'm just not against it. My guy, I can say that's gonna hurt your feelings about it. Sorry. G Dave, I don't know who GD Vance is. Negative emotions are there merely. Yeah. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Happiness comes from the actions that make you happy. Now, ask yourself what makes you happy. Wow, love that. What makes me happy? I wouldn't even say, okay, peace, stillness, silence, funnily enough. Those things make me happy. Where's Halloumi at? Oh my god, Halloumi's outside. Some relationships are meant to happen. Some aren't, and religion can be a big wall. Sometimes it stops things before they even start. You know, religion was always meant to be a path to God. You know, if you really, but it's a tool, and it's about how you use the tool. YouTube is a tool. You can be in different extremes of YouTube. You could be watching violence, or you could be watching, I don't know, cute little puppies or cute animals or something that makes you happy, you know? I guess that's what makes me happy. Animals make me happy. Watching animals, watching babies, things like that. Chocolate hazelnut, that makes me happy. The mind starts creating Harry Potter novels in the thoughts. Exactly. Should we forgive people that cheated? Forgiveness is something that you do for yourself. If they cheated, why not figure out why? You know, in old, in tribal communities, when someone would do something wrong, they wouldn't shame that person. They wouldn't say, you're bad, you should be ashamed of yourself. What they did was the community would gather around that person and say all the things they love about that person, all the qualities that are great in that person. And then they would help that person work through whatever it is that they're going through. Because when people act out like that, you know, when people do things like that, like cheat or something, it's for a reason. It didn't just happen randomly. Why is it? What in them makes them feel that they have to do that? Is that not more like effective? Is that not more loving? But of course, if you don't want to, like, you can forgive them. It doesn't mean that you accept their behavior. It just means that you accept the situation as it is, and you're choosing not to hold on to it, because that can also become trauma. Yeah, I guess things that you don't forgive are trauma for you, because you're holding on to it, right? Anything that we don't let go of, that we hold on to, is trauma. The story identity is the meaning we attach to the events. To change, we must change the meaning to it. Yeah, so true. And this means you can change your whole past. So, okay, one day you wake up and you think about the life you've lived, right? You could see it in one perspective. You could say, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't achieve this, I disappointed this person, I could have done this, I'm so shit. And then maybe a year afterwards, you could look back and say, you know, everything that I did got me to where I am right now, and I'm really happy. It was all meant to happen. I'm so grateful that it happened, because it sharpened me, right? What sharpens a sword? Another sword. So you can change the past just by changing the meaning of it. That's how much power you have. What makes you content, and are you proud of yourself? Nothing outside of me makes me content, because contentness is something that already exists within me. Nothing outside of me can help with that. Things outside of me will help me just realize the contentness within me. Does that make sense? Am I proud of myself? Yeah. Yeah. But I don't really think about these things like that. I don't Yeah, because you know what it is? When we become one thing, then we unbecome the other thing. But then there's this loop. Does that make sense? So, like, let's say life is a balance, okay? Let's say I am proud of myself. Okay, that's the scale. Like, that's the scale, right? This is me being proud. I'm all up in the sky. I'm so happy, blah, blah, blah. But that means there's another part of me that would be sad if I didn't have those things that I had, or one day I felt like I wasn't proud. Does that make sense? So I'm neither. Like, I am a little, like, you know? Does that make sense? Well, you don't know who the VP of America is. No, I don't pay attention to politics. I don't really care for it. Happiness is being aware that you don't have to try to be someone you don't want to be. Exactly. No one says you have to get married or be in a relationship is so nice. Being single, love that for you. Helping people makes me happy. Being a positive energy source for others also makes me happy. I love that. Thank you. The number one thing that is every business overpriced except grocery stores. Okay, nice. Just go slow, right? Yeah, I forgot. YouTube policies talk about you talking about real issues violates their policies. That's wild. I mean, it's control, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. I stay close to the baseline rather than to feel two ends of an emotion. Exactly, because emotions, I don't know if you've read Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, but he talks about this. He says you think you feel pleasure, right? But you're not feeling pleasure. You're just feeling the absence of pain. Something like that, Thank you, Greg. Very thoughtful of you. I appreciate you. What was that Aaron? I don't even know what that word was. I guess I should know too. Let's see. Oh, wait. The okay, maybe don't mention again. It's fine. I don't need to know. Ignorance is bliss in that sense. I think I should look up YouTube policies. I have no idea what they are. I just be here chatting. So yeah. Eckhart Tolle talks about how when you feel pleasure, the opposite of that is always pain. But there's a state that exists where there is no pleasure and there is no pain. I love telling this story. There's this story of this enlightened being. You could say a mystic. He had this guy who was, he would hang out with him, I guess his kind of disciple, his follower who he dedicated his life to taking care of this mystic, this enlightened being, this sadhu. And one day, this follower, right, this devotee, he went and brought his guru a mug because his guru always liked to have tea in a mug. And then he gave the mug to the guru, right? He put it there and then he's like waiting to see if the guru notices. And the guru notices and he said, "Oh, it looks like someone bought something new today." And then the devotee had this look in his eye of, I want you to feel really happy. I want you to feel excited that you got a new mug, that I did this for you. But Siu Vebov, that, yeah, like I want you to feel happy that I got you a mug. But then you know what the Sad said? The Sad said, nothing can give me more pleasure and nothing can take away my pleasure. Does that make sense? So when we allow things outside of us to make us happy, let me listen to a piece of music, I'll be happier. Or I'll be happy. That's a problem. I mean, one thing they always used to say when it comes to drinking, I don't drink now, but when I used to, they would say, don't drink to feel happy, drink to feel happier. But most people drink to feel happy, right? To have a good time. But why can't you have a good time without a drink? It's because it doesn't exist within you. Well, I guess there's a veil between you and feeling good. Oh my god, roti and spinach corn. That sounds so nice. Oh my god. क्या हमें मनी से प्यार करना चाहिए या नहीं? सब चीज की रिस्पेक्ट करनी चाहिए. So B pesticide just said, should we love money or not? I think the thing is, what does love mean to you? Because if love looks like, oh, I love money, I just want money, I'll take money I'll do anything for money, I'll hoard money, I'm not going to share my money, I'm going to keep my money, I'm going to hide it, I'm going to bury it so no one can ever see it, so no one can ever take it away from me. That's not loving money. Or I'm going to use it, I'm going to use money for when I feel sad. That's using money. That's exploiting money. So do you treat money with respect? Do you use money when you're emotionally, you're feeling something emotional, you're emotional and you're like, oh, let me just go spend some money? You know, like they say, shopping therapy. But you're using money. And money, what I would say is treat money like it's a person. What would money say to you if it was a person? Would it say, oh, you know, you're super controlling, you don't let me go anywhere, you just have a really bad vibe when I go, and when I come you're just stressed, so why would I come to you? You know, it's like that. This is what psychologists must make them stay at the center and analyze emotion, otherwise you go with emotions, and happy emotions you can't. Okay, yes. There is a veil, exactly. You're right, thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. Belly? Still there's very deep such hand. Okay, gifting to Guru. It is, of course, yeah. Have you done that before, Yash? I know you have a Guru, right? But it won't make you enlightened. Yeah, it is. The thing is, it's wonderful to have those things. It's not that we have to give up money and luxury. It's just your relationship to it. Money is Lakshmi. Exactly. Wow, Yash, what a great point. So look at my eyes is love. Thank you. So sweet. Money is a neutral soul. Exactly. It can be used to help people. Exactly. It's a tool, right? Am I a doctor? You know, I always wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. And I guess I am a doctor, but I'm a doctor of the soul, not the physical body. If you're close to baseline, don't know if you all want to get into a relationship, how would you feel loved? That's interesting. Okay, how would you feel loved? Okay. Personally, how do I feel? Awareness. Someone listening to me makes me feel loved. Someone paying attention to me makes me feel loved. You know, someone being present with me. Someone really caring about how I am makes me feel loved. You know, I used to place things like money and status at the top. So it'd be things like looks and then like money and status, because these are the things that I was. These are just the conclusions I got to with the life that I lived, okay? That looks, clearly, because I cared so much about looks, too much money and status, also something that I learned. So I would place these things on top. But what I've learned now is that one of the most important things for me is emotional intelligence. Is your partner, like, obviously I'm a woman, so, you know, in a man, can he be a strong container? It's all to do with emotional intelligence, because the feminine is very wild and chaotic at times. You know, she goes through cycles and phases, and she just needs someone to like hold strong at all times and be confident enough to handle the feminine, because it's not easy. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of men, like, I watched this podcast and this man was saying how, you know, men are scared of women. They're scared of the feminine, and I get that. Being a Libra, she wants a person who truly loves it. That's true. Oh, you make perfumes and drawings. Oh, I love that. Osho tried to teach his to his version of the Guru. Nice. I don't watch Stranger Things. You come without money and you will go without it. It only makes life easier. Okay. Nope. Don't watch Stranger Things. 19 people listen to you. You are loved. Oh, that's sweet. Depends on the percent. That's actually really sweet. You know, I didn't even think of it that way, Yash. Thank you. That's cute. Depends on the percentage. Okay. Can you not center between the feminine and the masculine? Yeah, I can. So I think that's a good point. Let me try to understand. So, is it Michelle? It's Michelle, right? The way that your relationship is with your masculine and your feminine is reflected outside of you. Like, for example, okay, the feminine would be, okay, I feel really scared. I have an interview. Oh my God, I feel really panicky. Oh my God, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. Stop feeling it. Stop feeling it. Just let it go. It's fine. I'm confident. I'm confident. Repeat it. I'm confident. I'm confident. Ah. A healthy masculine would say, it's okay, Priya. We feel nervous. You feel nervous. I'm here with you. It's okay for you to feel that. And the feminine's like, okay, you got me. You got me. You're holding on to me, you know? When that's happening internally, then you attract that in your outside life. Because I spoke about this before as well, how I would always attract what I believed were very feminine energy men, right? They were predominantly feminine because I was always the masculine. I couldn't allow my feminine energy to thrive. I just couldn't let go. I was a control freak. You know, I don't want to like judge myself. I love her. She was doing the best that she could, but she was very controlling. She couldn't surrender. She just couldn't let go. And until she learned to do that, she wouldn't attract someone who can like also do that. Does that make sense? Let's say a guy has a brain size of a peanut, then how can improve their emotional IQ? Okay, interesting. So emotional IQ is not much to do with the brain as it is to do with feeling your feelings. If you could just get through to that person, look, when you feel anything, like when anger comes up, just sit and feel it. Okay, just feel it, allow it to be there. Don't suppress it, don't hide it, don't do anything. Just sit, name the symptoms. Okay, I feel a tightness in my chest, my heart feels like it's throbbing, my hands feel really clammy, I feel like I want to punch something. Okay, cool. And then breathe through it. Breathe. Because what is an emotion? It's energy in motion. What's breathing? It's the movement of energy. So when you incorporate that, when you allow yourself to sit with it and you bring your breath with it, then it goes out, it dissipates. Emotions aren't meant to last longer than about 90 seconds, but we hold on to them. That's the problem. So yeah, you don't need a brain, you just need to feel. You need to be in your body. We make it too mental. Waheguru, oh my God. Oh gosh. How the feminists should be treated if they take men granted. Okay, you know, so feminists, it's this again, okay? Balance. Everything comes down to balance. The feminist used to be here. She was like, I'm not being treated well. I can't vote. I don't have any value. I don't have any power. I don't have my own bank account or my own property. Okay, I'm seen as beneath the man, right? She's here. So she's like, I want to get equal. I want to be even. So I'm going to go over here. I can do everything better than a man. I don't need a man. You see, so an imbalance was created. It's two extremes. You want to be here. You want to have a balance of the masculine and the feminine. Because the masculine and the feminine are yin and yang. Right? Because this lady here who's like, I can do it all, I don't have to let go and just chill. I have to be like, I can open the door, I can do this, I can do this, I can, you know, she's not valuing herself. She's not giving herself grace when she needs to. Does that make sense? It's just an end of another extreme. We want to be here. This is the sweet point. Okay, hey Vinod. What is it? Yeah, the balance of Shiva and Shakti. So yeah, I love that you said that. You know, Shiva is pure consciousness, right? Shiva, what I see is like the container, and Shakti is the energy that is dancing and swirling and just moving. The two are the same. They're just one, but they're expressing themselves as different things, you know? What is the difference between having a crush and love on someone? Okay, having a crush, I guess, is a... like a not very deep thing. You could see someone and be like, oh, I have a crush on them. I've just been seeing them for a week somewhere, and now I kind of like them. There's something about them. But love would be, I know them. I don't know. Love is very deep, right? It's accepting of someone. It's seeing all of them. A crush could be, oh, I see that this person looks like this and I like that. This person talks like this and I like that. It can be kind of conditional. Whereas love is, I accept that person. It's very deep, you know? It will come back until you have a mental solution. Yeah, do it. Hi, what is feminist? So a feminist is someone, the thing is, that was old feminism. There's a new wave of feminism, but I don't really keep up with feminism. Like I said, I don't really identify with things like that. It was someone who, it's inverted. Yeah, I'm not trying to, I know it's, I'm not trying to get you to read what it says. I'm just showing you the balance, you know? The scales. Did I not draw that right? I don't know. Okay. Hey, I want to the session with you. May I? You may. You can contact me. You may. I also don't understand what it is talking about sometimes. Please keep comments respectful. I feel sad for my mom. It's so funny. I do too. Well, am I a monk or spiritual? It's so interesting. I'm nothing. How to get justice. If only female side is considered important. You're important. It's just, I get, you're important, okay? Everybody's important. Everybody is just you. It's just that because men and women have different qualities, right? They have opposite qualities. We're the opposite of each other. So they get different treatment compared to you because different things make sense. Like, for example, if I had a like a newborn child and I had a 10-year-old, I would treat them differently. Both are equally as valuable, but they would get different treatment. Maybe, you know, the newborn child would get more attention. Does that make sense? So you're important. Same thing but different. But you could also see like sun, moon, and everything is interconnected. The sun is masculine energy and the moon is feminine energy. I love that. Have you been seeing that? Have you been seeing a post about that? I've been seeing go PSG. I don't know what PSG is. Sorry, I see and feel you totally connected. Thank you. Wait, what was your question? I can't see your question. It's gone. Some people only care about themselves. We're in a mess. The thing is, look, you know, being selfish is not a bad thing because it means taking care of yourself. And when you're an adult, you have to take care of yourself. So saying no when you want to say no to a parent, to your boyfriend, to your girlfriend, to your child, you know, you kind of have to you have to do that because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not in a good state, right? You're not the best person for everybody. You're not the best version of yourself. So you have to pour into yourself, be the best version of yourself, and then you can be there for people. People don't do that. I guess that's why, you know? But it also, with this thing, it comes back to codependency as well. I used to expect people to do things for me because I would do them for them and I wouldn't say no. You know? And then I would get mad if they said no. That means I didn't respect their no. So then, you know, like I can't expect people to accept my no. Does that make sense? What you like most Christian? I don't identify with a religion. What is the energy that you share? Is it about inner energy or the text? All matters. It's inner energy, you know? The energy within all of us is the same. Uh, how to understand which can be the good match for marriage? How does it make you feel? I guess, you know? I don't know. I guess it's different for a man and a woman. Like for myself, it's about how do I feel safe? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel taken care of? And I also more about me. Am I dependent on this person? Is this person the source of my joy? Or am I the source of my joy and love? And is it that I get to share this with this person? You know? Intuition. Oh yeah, and probably intuition. Intuition is I saw this hey, I saw this quote by Steve Jobs today, and he said intuition is very powerful. It's more powerful than your intellect. And that's a problem. Most people rely on their intellect, right? Rather than their intuition. It's getting hot. I'm getting tired. Interesting. He's a dumbass? Interesting. I think relationships are meaningless in today's society. I think relationships in society is less about wanting to live life with somebody and more I want an observer in my life all the time. I want an audience. Wow. Interesting. So if we disregard society and we talk about you, what would you say it is for you? Because that's what you're observing, but maybe it's not the whole truth, you know? That's just simply your observation. It's what you're choosing to focus on that you see. Yeah, intuition and intellect work together. They do. Right mind, right emotion. He tried would be alive if he listened to it. You guys are interesting. See, questions like, is she married? Is she single? They're not interesting. Like, how is that going to help your life, you know? The guy who can't write proper grammar. Just because, Be pesticide, you're hilarious. You know, pickle pick what I say? Everything, your outer world is a reflection of who you are within yourself. So why not turn it back to yourself and think, okay, if the outside world is the effect, then I must be the cause. What makes me feel like I'm the cause? Because, you know, I used to believe this. I used to believe that people are very shallow. And when I looked closely, I saw that I was the one that was being shallow. And that helped because that meant that I now understood what was happening, what was the problem, and I could tackle it, you know? So look within yourself, take responsibility for, you know, that. Like, for example, I used to, I used to say men are trash, and I would always attract like problematic relationships. But I don't say that anymore because I realized that maybe I was the one. That's trash thinking, by the way, to think that. And of course, if you think that they're trash, then you're going to attract what? Trash, right? Like men who fit the role. It's confirmation bias, you know? Jesus. Do I believe in Christ? Christ consciousness, not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ had great things to say. He said, look within you, you can be like me. His surname wasn't Christ. He had Christ consciousness. That's why they called him Jesus Christ. Search into Christ consciousness if you're interested. Right mind, defeating all sins will open intuition, aka your third eye. Interesting. Defeating all the sins. What does that mean? Yeah. I said Jesus, I guess so. Is there a world even outside? It's our perception that creates the world for us. It's just a virtual reality. Rupesh, you're bang on point. No, I don't think people are trash. I think people are deep in their personalities. I just think they want shallow things. People are out looking for validation and attention. Why? You know, it's interesting you think that, because is it reflecting anything to do with you? Because everybody is just you. What does God look like? God doesn't look like anything. God is energy. It's consciousness. God looks like you and me, if we had to put it. God looks like everything you can see. God is all there is, you know? The 7 deadly sins. Okay, I don't think... did you check? No, I haven't checked out Seb Jones yet. Thank you. Yosh, I know. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. You know, it's so funny. I wake up in the morning and then I remember, oh no, I didn't do it. But what I'm, it'll happen when it's gonna happen. Oh, 8. Okay, I was born on the 8th. 8 is a like a very kind of significant number in my life. That's why I had it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm out. Why did I time you out? Interesting. God is yourself, actually. Yeah, it is. I am God. And so are you. And so is everyone else and everything, you know? Welcome, Andrew. Okay, you can think that, but I know I am, because I know the truth. There's a 666 in your birthday. That's interesting. And what's the numerological significance of that? It's not a gold cup. It's a copper cup. It's really good for you. You should always apparently drink out of a copper cup. Why do you think people around the world seek such materialistic things? I get that we're surviving, but it seems like we digress into animalistic type of attention, money-based craving. You know, Pickle Pick, I just don't think about people that way. I just don't care. I don't care about what other people are interested in or care about. I know sometimes it comes out, but I try not to, because ultimately the only thing that's real is you, your inner world, okay? Like so who was it? Rupesh said, right? He said, we're living in a virtual reality. You're going way too far out of yourself. You need to go back in, pay attention to yourself. How do I feel? How do I see the world? What does the world mean to me? You know, what do I believe about the world? Like, it's all about you. Don't focus outwards. Yeah, we're bored, so we're trying to create interesting things like video games, AR, VR. God could be someone from more boring world who created us for entertainment. You know, God is about experiences. Life is about experiences. That's it. Why do you watch movies? To experience new realities, you know, vicariously. God is like that. God's just like, I want to see everything, okay? I want to play with this. I want to play with this. I want to do this. And that's it. How to overcome attachment. Okay, interesting. Meditation is, like, I would say, the solution to most things. Austin, yes, God is love. We are all God's love. Amen. Ashe. um, when you do focus outwards, focus to help. Wow, love that, Red Dragon. I believe in peace. I believe that one of the largest obstacles in my life is overcoming death and meaningless. And in my life, I've created meaning for myself, and I understand what it does for me. Overcoming death, in what way though? Like, how do you overcome death? How do you get over your fear and actually live and breathe, especially when you're coming from a strict background? Meditate. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Go into who you really are. We talk about God, but have you experienced God? Experience who you truly are. You are spirit. That's why it's spirituality, right? It's about spirit. The life of the spirit. So you're spirit before you are whoever you are, before your name. I'm a spirit. I'm not Priya. I'm not Indian. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not married. I'm not unmarried. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm nothing. I'm none of those things. I'm a spirit having a human experience. So when you can connect to that, fear subsides because you realize that fear is an illusion. You know, like Austin said, love is all there is. Am I a Brahmin or a Rajput? Well, I don't understand why that's relevant. I'm neither. I'm consciousness having a human experience at the moment. People search God when they need them, like in hard times. You don't have to be one of those people though. Am I Chinese? I'm God having a human experience. I've overcome death by realizing that who I am and get a show up. Wow. Interesting. Pickle pick. People who have not faced hard times don't discuss about God. That's true. I mean, maybe not always. And the choice keeps me going every day because I choose to live, I choose to breathe. Wow, I love that. That's kind of cool. The fear is coming from his thoughts. He needs a balancing, counteractive thought to neutralize from the intellect part of the right. It has a logical solution. Interesting. See, the thing is, I don't even, like if I have a thought that says, Priya, you suck. We suck. We're awful. I would fight the thought, right? Sometimes I would either be lost in the thought, I'd fight the thought, and I try to change the thought. But what I do now, I just become aware of the thought. Like TikTok. If you guys have TikTok, you have Instagram, you're scrolling, right, on your FYP. You see a video and you're like, nah. Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm going to give my attention to that. Oh, cool. I'm going to implement that in my life. Pretty cool point. Nah. You see? So your thoughts can be like that. You have a thought that says, Priya, you suck. Cool. Priya, you look awful. Priya, you know, you're great. Okay, cool, whatever. You know? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can just swipe on these. Is no one here Chinese? Are you? Welcome. Emotions are illusion. Only pure consciousness is real. Yeah. What if you don't like reflection in and out? You're God, you know? That's your ego. That's your ego. Who doesn't like it? Who within you doesn't like it? What is the feeling of that? What if feeling of that attachment currently is much stronger than any other energy? It's because you're paying attention to it. You give the thing you pay attention to, you empower. Take your attention away from it and it dissolves. It dissolves. Exactly, Goated. You are not the mind or body. You are a spiritual being having an experience in this physical body. Amen. Interesting. That's a fair point. See, I asked ChatGPT about this. I said, okay, so what should I do? Should I change the negative thought? Or because, you know, I become aware of it. So what it said was, in the moment, become aware of it, and then later on, correct it, you know? Be like, no, like, this is my truth. Is water more, land more on earth? I have no idea. And thank you, Mr. Bluntastic. Is that a real freckle? No, it's not a freckle. It's called a bindi. A bindi is a Indian beauty part of the Indian beauty culture. It helps you, it protects you from negative energy. It activates your third eye, I believe. Like, you realize that, wow, there's a finite amount of everything, you know? Yes, that is possible. When would you like that? Like to look through Christian. Okay, yeah, guys, it has been wonderful. I am very, very grateful for you all, for being here, for sharing your thoughts. Absolutely wonderful. I'm gonna go now. My throat is asking for a break. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon. By the way, I'll hold a satsang on Sundays. So yeah, mention the satsang. So the satsang is a sacred play, like container. It happens on Zoom. So it's where you come and, there is a group of us who discuss certain topics. So there are different themes every Sunday. So it's a place like this where we have conversations about certain things, but without all the excess comments. Are you married? Where are you from? Are you this? Are you, all of these things. It's more, we get to go to depth in different subjects. So if that's something that interests you, if you would like to be able to talk to me directly, discuss things with other people in the satsang, which are usually from my lives, it's the place to be. So if you'd like to get onto that, you can check out my bio and the link is there, but I actually need to update something. I need to update the Zoom link. I'll do that now. But yeah, don't do it yet. Give me like 5 minutes. So yeah, if you'd like to join the satsang, it's happening this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. UK time. Hopefully I'll see you there. We can have some interesting conversations. But yes, I am gonna call it a day today. Thank you for being here. Bye. See you.